Hey guys, welcome back to After Hours with Jimmy Thistle. What I'm trying to do now is because I've been doing a lot of the getting them in the can. So I've been doing a lot of recording of the episodes with my guests, and then I'll quickly do like the kind of this little intro and the outro, get it uploaded to Spotify, and then it's in the can ready to go. But then listening back, like I'm talking about stuff in this little intro, um, which is like way in the past. So, I'm recording this today on 11th of October. This episode is going to be out on Friday. What will that be? I think the 16th. So I'm trying to keep it in the present almost, well, as much as in the present as I can, so that when I'm talking about things like, we're off to Morocco on the 20th. This will be out 3 days before we go to Morocco. So while you're listening to this, I'll just be about getting ready to go to Morocco. Now, I'm not trying to big up my life and what I'm doing in my life. This is going to be a holiday of a lifetime. Can't wait. It's not like I'm swanning off to all these far-flung places all the time. This is my first holiday abroad in over 10 years, I think. Well, it must be over 10 years because I've just had to renew my passport, and well, with the name change and all that now, Jimmy Thistle. But before that, my passport that I got when I was 32-ish, it never got used. It never got used to go abroad. It's never been stamped. It's never been through any foreign borders. So, that's a lot to do with my drinking days. I didn't have the money or the inclination to get up and do a bit of traveling or whatever. I just never had the kind of funds, and any funds I did have was going on boozing. Don't get me wrong, I had some lovely holidays, in and around the UK, camping and stuff like that. So, you don't have to go abroad to have a really nice time, but it is good to kind of get yourself out there and see different parts of the world. Anyway, I'm rambling. Going back to this, so what I'm trying to do now with the intros and the outros is I'm going to try and keep them, as kind of close to the podcast, not as close to the podcast, as close to the podcast drop date as possible, so that it's a little bit more continuity for you guys. The whole talk about my wedding in the summer, I was talking about it for months and months and months, and then when it did actually happen and gone, I think I was still talking about it in some of the episodes after it happened. So, I don't want to kind of, I know you guys probably don't care. Like, you probably don't even listen to this bit. You probably skip forward, but I hope people enjoy my little intros, because I like to just kind of, I don't do like an intro, this person did this and this and this and this, and give them a whole big write up before the episode, or when I'm introducing them, because I want people to make their own opinion of my guests, because I do a bit of research, of course I do, but I want to get to know the person just pure, simple, face to face, and let you guys get to know the person as it's unfolding in front of me, if that makes sense. Like, I know a lot of podcasts, and it's great to give a little introduction and what the person's done and who they are and all that, but I think it's better just to learn as we go. So that's kind of my format anyway. Today we've got Jen Hirst. Jen is she's got a great Instagram. This is where I meet a lot of my guests. I meet them on Instagram, because Instagram for me is where my community is. It's where my tribe is, and that's where I live, basically. In the cyber world, and I meet some amazing people on there in the community, because that's kind of where I used the support to for one of my methods to get sober as well. So Jen is an absolute legend on the Instagram. She's just got a great page. She posts like almost every day, if not every day, just about her kind of struggles, and now her kind of sober coaching that she does. She's doing an amazing feat for people that are struggling, and she's an amazing source of support. Jen is 12 and a half years sober. which is absolutely brilliant. You know, I absolutely love hearing that. You know, that people have got sober and stayed sober for that amount of time. She was a high achiever, you know, when she was younger. Wanted to really kind of impress her parents, so she was, you know, stuck in at school, did really well with that, on the athletics field as well. But had her first drink at 15, but you know, that didn't, you know, it was just a kind of social thing. It wasn't like a big, right, this is it now, I'm gonna go hell for leather, kind of like what I did. But I think Jen's real kind of problem began when her second boyfriend broke up with her, and she just really didn't want to. She couldn't face the pain and the anguish that kind of breakup brought, and alcohol was there to kind of help her mask it, numb out the pain, and just kind of get on with it. And then, you know, I guess she used that as a coping mechanism for the anxiety that then came. She didn't realize that the alcohol was actually increasing her anxiety. So, you know, it's that kind of catch-22, double-edged sword. It's, you think it's helping you, but actually it's the one that's causing the problem here. So, you know, it's a difficult one. She got to the point where she didn't really know how to live without alcohol, and it was such a problem that even on the day of her wedding to her now husband, she was drinking voraciously in the morning, and just to kind of deal with the anxiety. And it was after a couple of days after the wedding that, you know, she kind of almost kind of fessed up and said, right, you know, I think I've got a problem. And from there, you know, you think, well, as soon as you admit it, it is the first step, but it doesn't actually get you clean and sober right away when you first admitted it. It is the first step, and it is an amazing thing to do, but and obviously be accountable and tell people and tell your family and your loved ones. But for Jen, it wasn't really the end of it right there. So yeah, listen for the similarities as always, guys, and I will see you at the end. Jen, welcome to After Hours. How are you today? How's your energy? Because I know that you've been through a little bit of kind of like illness recently. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, well, maybe not so much illness, but
Sorry, yeah.
surgery.
Surgery,
And what's
yeah,
so
yeah.
great is that even when you do get sick, so we were just talking before this, my daughter's upstairs under the weather, is that
Mm,
when we get sick, at least it's not because of drinking.
yeah,
Like, if I get the flu, if I'm in bed, at least I know I didn't cause this. It's just because
yeah.
I picked up something. But yeah, I'm still recovering from hernia surgery. So I just didn't have one, I had three. And so
Oh,
we just said, you know what? I got my back taken care of this winter with melanoma. So
hmm,
then I'm like, let's just hit my deductible and get my front taken care of. Like, and I
yeah.
guess I had three. I thought I only had two, and then just repair everything.
Just
So
get it all done at once. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
resting is not easy for me, but
No,
I can do it. And I think one of the hardest things for me is to slow down. But
yeah,
a lot of times we have to slow down in order to speed up.
yeah.
But it's always a good lesson for me,
Yeah.
and I think my body needs it.
Well, yeah, I mean, looking at your Instagram, you're just a super active person. So this must have just been, I mean, I suppose sometimes it is good to just take you know, the pedal off the gas and just, you know, chill out. I know it's tough, but we know we need to do it. And I don't know about you, but whenever I was under the weather or not feeling my best, probably alcohol related, that was always my go-to. You know, if I was feeling bad, I that would be my pick me up. You know, alcohol would always, I would think that it was doing me the world of good when obviously we know it wasn't at all. So,
Yeah. And once you
yeah,
do like the research on it, you realize, oh, it was just making it so much worse. But however, we're just
yeah,
looking at it for that like first 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You're like, oh, yeah, because it kind of can give you a pick me up,
of
right? It
course.
gives you, it
Yeah, yeah,
has a little bit of excitement and adrenaline initially, but
yeah,
then we just never play the tape through of, oh, yeah, and then it's going to make me feel like crap. And then I'm going to even feel even crappier and more anxious, which then because I'm feeling like that, then I'm going to want to drink. So it's like we drink because we have anxiety, and we have anxiety because we drink, and then the whole cycle
yeah,
continues, and then we have no idea how to get off.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so But
It's a
yeah,
vicious circle, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, let's go back. Tell us about your kind of childhood. Where you grew. Whereabouts are you? You're in the US, are you?
I'm in Minnesota, in
Minnesota.
the US, so way up north, almost by Canada. We moved
Yeah,
even further north a few years ago to be in the country, which is something that is completely new to me. I'm was born and raised a city girl. I
yeah.
loved the city. I moved to New York City for a little bit, and then I married a guy from the country,
Uh-huh.
and he kind of let me to slow down and to see and enjoy the simple things.
Yeah,
And even though I hate the cold, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, why do I live here? But you live in Minnesota for the
yeah.
spring, the summer, and the fall. And
You
you're
get
like,
this, but you get the seasons, don't you? That's what, like,
yeah.
like I lived in Scotland, and okay, if you go really far north, yeah, you'll get some snow. But for the majority of it, and even where I live now in the Isle of Man, it's just kind of winter. We'd be lucky if we get like a week of snow or a couple of days of snow. It's mostly just wet, damp, and a bit cold. It's not like freezing. It can be, but I love seasons because I think yeah, you got to get the winter clothes on. You can put that on. Yeah, I don't. I would love to have some proper snow, and then you guys get like absolute, kind of feet and feet of it. Is that Fargo country?
Yeah, Fargo is actually just a couple hours away.
Wow.
I
Okay.
know, but
Okay.
it's so great because, like you mentioned, the seasons that you get,
Yeah.
because you wouldn't know if it's 70 degrees and sunny every single day. You wouldn't know how great it is unless you
Mhm.
experienced the harsh winters. And then when you get to
Yeah.
that first, like 45 to 50-degree weather, you're like, oh my gosh, this feels so great. However,
Yeah.
if 70 degrees was just our way of life, it just, you never really appreciate it, right? And so it's kind of
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
getting sober of where you can appreciate the hard times, because it then led to these amazing times of
Hmm.
in sobriety. Now, not saying sobriety is perfect and amazing. However, because we know where drinking can take us,
Hmm.
now we know where sobriety can. Or if you're sober curious, where could sobriety take me? Right?
Oh,
I'm
without a
just
doubt.
interested
Without a
in
doubt.
that. But
Yeah.
it's great to have that contrast, so then you
Mhm.
know how good you can feel and you can know how great the weather is. So when it does come, when you have those harsh winters, you always know that
Yeah.
first 50-degree day is freaking coming.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, and I know we could talk about the weather for hours, but
You're like,
interesting.
guys, stop
Yeah,
about the
no, no.
weather.
I know people would be like, "What are they on about?" But interesting one thing. Once I got past my first year, and I'm a gardener now. I never was a gardener. I was interested in like growing veg and things like that in my drinking days, but I've learned all of my trade now. But actually, the first year, it was when I started noticing what things came out first. Like the snowdrops, and then I guess it's the daffodils, and then maybe I'm probably going to get it wrong, but the bluebells and things like that. I had no idea that this was the kind of sequence of, like, I knew the seasons, but I didn't know, oh, the daffodils are out, it's spring's coming. You know what I mean? Like, these things never clocked in my head. I was just so kind of wrapped up in this drinking world that these things just never occurred to me. And now, like, looking at life, I'm like, yeah, this is the seasons. This is what happens. The daffodils come up and it's beautiful. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you
it's just
appreciate the
bizarre.
little things, right?
Oh,
And you get to
so much
notice all
more.
of these things that were happening that
Yeah.
we were just too drunk to see it, to experience it. And
Yeah.
I know, and when I was drinking, I'd be like, yeah, 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 the like blue weather. But then once you get sober, it's like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Like the sun is out, the leaves are falling. You really get to appreciate those simple things, and those simple things
Yeah.
do give us pleasure. But I think when
Oh,
we're drinking, we're just so enamored with the drink, when's our next drink, or recovering from the drink, that we miss everything.
we do. Just
Yeah.
narrow-minded, and it's so sad to live a life like that. Looking back, no, it's like this is just without a doubt the way to go. But anyway, so tell us about your kind of childhood, where you grew up, and when you had your first drink. Then, Jen.
Yeah, well, I came and grew up from a great family. I mean,
Hmm.
none of my parents were alcoholics or anything like that. My grandfather was, so initially my mother rarely drank, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
never really drank around me. They would have a beer, but yet they would always keep like a liquor cabinet, and like it would just sit there and sit there and sit there. And so again, I was raised in a great home, kind of from
Hmm.
a perfectionist family where And again, I've done a lot of work in sobriety of, giving my parents compassion and seeing how I can help my children to not strive for perfection in
Hmm.
everything that they do, to just have fun and experience life. But having that mentality really stuck with me in, adulthood as I was trying to figure out who I was and, achieving. And I would put so much pressure on myself to get good grades, to win awards and things like that, that I just
Hmm.
couldn't handle all these expectations to prove to my parents to earn their love, whether
Right.
they knew it or not. It kind of instilled in me this perfectionist tendency. But I mean, I had my first drink at 15. My parents were out of town. My two girlfriends were over. They were like, let's
Hmm.
just do this. And one of my friends had already drank. And so we raided their liquor cabinet, had like 13 shots or something. They both got sick. I didn't, felt crap after the day after, but that didn't ignite this like, oh my God, I love this,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
okay,
And
yeah.
so I think everyone is different. Everyone's story is different. For me, it was a lot of putting pressure on myself, using alcohol to manage anxiety, and then
Hmm.
it till it just came to a point where I couldn't stop. However, now doing a usage history, which I did in the many treatments I've been to, which is where you kind of
Hmm.
write out your alcohol story, I
Of
was able to
course, yeah.
pinpoint, okay, when did it turn from college drinking
Hmm.
to, okay, take this pain away? And for me, it was when my second boyfriend wanted to go on a break.
Hmm.
And I think heartbreak, I think sometimes we can just pinpoint where it planted a seed within us, because
Yeah.
I went back to my first boyfriend and I said, I never want to have to go through that again. It was awful. I never want to experience that pain of, oh my God, you thought your life was going to be this way. And then it
Yeah.
completely changes all of a sudden, and you don't know what to do with this sadness, with this change. And so the guys I was living with, they were had some Adderall. And so I know we were talking about taking cough syrup, right? To kind of have an
Yeah,
upper to
yeah.
feel better in a hangover. But for this, they were like, look, if you take this, you're going to feel like God. And this was right after he wanted to go on a break. And I'm like, I don't do drugs. But then
Yeah.
little did I know alcohol's a drug. Did not know that until like 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I'm like, sure, whatever. And so I did it. I felt amazing. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. I dyed my hair, I stayed up all night, and then it wore off. Anxiety crept up. But then I'm like, okay, if I could do this, if this happened with Adderall, I could do the same with alcohol. I could just
Yeah.
take away the pain. Or anytime that I get nervous, I can just drink. As someone who has social anxiety, as
Yep.
someone who gets very nervous to talk in front of people or to, small talk, things like that. So anytime before a date, before we went out, all of that stuff, I would start drinking by myself. And
Mm.
so began this, self-medication journey of when I first started to abuse it for
Hmm.
emotional reasons to ultimately when I got sober, it was about a 10-year progression. And so that's why it can happen kind of slowly and until the point where I didn't know how to stop. So that's really how it started was yes, just experimenting at my parents,
Yeah.
using it, just to have fun and party in high school and college
Yeah.
until the breakup happened and then ignited the idea, okay, I can start doing this with alcohol.
Yeah.
However, it didn't really start to become a problem until the year leading up to my wedding. Like a real big problem. There was warning signs in my drinking.
Yeah.
Like I got a DWI in January 1st, 2005. I would black out a ton and not know what happened and wake up next to people I knew, but not sure what
But not
happened.
sure how you got there, or yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and trying to piece together like making super embarrassing things that I did and hearing about it and just feeling awful.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. But again, it was kind of just like my comfort. It would lessen the anxiety
Hmm.
initially. It would make me more fun, more talkative at
Hmm.
parties and get-togethers. But the more and more I used it, the more tolerance I had, the more anxiety I had, which means I needed it more and more.
Yeah.
So,
And do you think, I mean, it's interesting you're saying there that you kind of decided, oh, what will happen if I use alcohol to do this, to battle the anxiety and, make you funnier? Do you think that's looking back in hindsight, or do you think you actually knew that at the time and this is what's going to help you kind of, because looking back, I think it definitely helped with my anxiety. I was quite a shy person, and but I don't know. It was also like this is what everyone else is doing, and I enjoyed the buzz of it. So it was kind of like, did I know that I had anxiety then? I knew I was quite shy, and I knew that it opened me up to being a bit more, loose-lipped, and I thought being funnier and all of those things. And but I don't know if I consciously went, right, I need to drink to do that. I think I just did it because it was what everyone did, and also this less anxiety it came along with it. I don't know if there was a conscious choice for me to do that, to battle that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't think I know I did not know. I know I did not know
Mm.
that it was increasing anxiety. I had no idea. I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
like you, it's going to help relieve my anxiety. And again, I wanted to escape the pain.
yeah.
I wanted to escape the pain. And also, I wanted to be liked. And I thought if I was extroverted,
Hmm.
people would like me, right? I was known as Fun Jen, and Fun Jen was Drunk Jen. And
Yeah,
so if I didn't have that, if I was shy and didn't know what to say, would people still like me? Right? So,
yeah.
but I had no idea that it was raising my anxiety. It was making it so much worse. If I had known then what I know now, I probably would. Who knows? But my story would have been completely different. I'm not sure.
True.
So yeah, but I knew I could escape in there because there's been so many times before where you're just like, woo,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah.
wanted that. I didn't want to feel pain. I didn't want to feel stress or anxiety. I didn't want to feel nervous. And so I used that to help. And I thought I was. I'm just like, I'm just going to do that. And yeah, it did relax me
Hmm.
initially,
Hmm.
but it always ended up with regret and embarrassment and things like that. But I just thought I had anxiety.
Yeah, and but so was your drinking very social drinking and things like that? Like because with me, looking back, I had no idea what else I would have done if I hadn't been spending my weekends going out with my mates, seeing what friends were around when we went out, or what girls we could talk to, or that. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone had said to me at the time, maybe you should give up drinking. I don't think it was actually an issue. And I'm talking like my early 20s. I don't know if there would have been anything else for me to do. There would have been, but I wouldn't have known. Oh well, hang on, I can do this at the weekend. I can meet all these people doing like hiking or getting into some other hobbies or things like that. For me, it was just pure socializing, and if I was socializing, there was drink involved. If you'd said to me, "Why don't you go out tonight and not have a drink?" I'd have been like, "What are you crazy?" Like So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and it definitely was. I mean, that's
yeah,
what we did. That's how me and my husband actually met was at Brewfest, is the
mm,
weekends meant going out with friends, drinking. However, there was moments where, of course, I would drink too much with friends, but they were all drinking to the same extent as I
yeah,
was. But they didn't see, as it progressed, I was drinking beforehand. Maybe I was
mm,
drinking when I got home. But around my friends, even for periods of time, I would keep it really together. And so
yeah,
when it came out that I had this big problem, everyone was like, "What? Jen?" Like, no, she doesn't. But they didn't see. So, yeah, it started social, but then
yeah,
it progressed to secret drinking, and
yeah,
then it progressed to just drinking by myself at home. And then I didn't want to go out, right?
yeah.
But I felt so at ease because when we did go out, everyone was drinking. That's all we did. We
Hmm.
didn't really just hang out just to hang out. There was always alcohol involved. We always were going to the bars. We were always going to house parties
Hmm.
and or to friends' houses and drinking. And so I didn't really know how to live without it. I didn't know what to do besides drinking with friends or
Hmm.
even how to live life because that's what we did. But again, yeah, it was social and I still did social things, but the more I drank and it's so crazy. So I drank to be social,
Hmm.
but yes, I became more isolated. And
Yeah,
I wanted to drink by myself because I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing and how much I was drinking. Because number one, then they think I'd have a problem. What would they think of me? I'd have to stop. And so a lot of my drinking, especially in those last 2 years, 2 to 3 years, was done at home.
yeah.
And even living with my fiance, now husband, was hiding it from him, hiding it in my closet, drinking after he went to bed, trying to
Hmm.
moderate, and then I would just go ham once he went to bed because I was working all the time. And so I was trying to just have some fun and relax with it. But again, it was just making me so much more anxious, so much more unproductive.
Hmm.
And I felt so much crappier in the process leading up to my wedding.
Yeah, and I think with it is that disease that wants you on your own. I think like 90% of the people that I speak to, either on the podcast or in the rooms, it all ends with them drinking on their own secret ways, or if they don't have any other spouse or partner, they can just do it in their own apartment. For me, when I was, when it started getting really bad in my 20s, and this is way before it got to its extreme, but my drinking was bad then because I would come home from work and I had housemates, but they were all kind of room dwellers. So I would just sit in my room and I'd get three bottles of wine for £10, which is probably about, I don't know, 17, $18. This is like, 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I would just sit there and drink the whole three bottles. This is like on a weeknight. And then the weekend would be the big nights out with all the friends. But sometimes if there was a night out, I was like, right, I'll come out and I'd be out for a bit, and then I couldn't wait to get home and do my proper drinking that was on my own,
Yeah.
And it was like, if people wanted to come back, I was like, oh God, you know what I mean? Like I'd be drinking with them, but I just wanted like to do it on my own. And it's weird, isn't it? Like I was in my late 20s and I just wanted to be drinking on my own because that's where I felt safe and that's where I felt secure, And it's
Yeah.
the
Isn't that
alcohol that does that.
strange?
So bizarre, so bizarre. So when did you meet your now husband?
Yeah, we met at Brewfest,
Yeah,
which is like a beer drinking event in 2007.
sure, right, okay.
So, but again, and we would have, that's what him and I did together. Date night, go to
Yeah,
a bar,
yeah,
right? We used to have, like these days where we were just, I mean, he doesn't have a problem, but we would just drink all day sometimes. Or like
yeah.
Sunday, let's go to the and play bingo, or maybe that was a Saturday or something, and do that. And so I met him there, but again, he didn't have any idea of what was
Hmm.
going on because I was so good at hiding it.
And
And
because
so
he was
he,
drinking as well,
yeah, we would
it's
go out and
oh
he'd drink.
yeah,
He didn't see that I would drink beforehand sometimes.
yeah,
There would be a period where I actually wasn't drinking a lot, but then I was kind of cross addicted into over exercising.
yeah.
So that's also a real thing is that I wasn't drinking as much, but I was transfer addiction into over exercising for a period of time. But
Hmm.
he didn't actually really find out until a couple days after our wedding, of
Wow.
how bad it was. And then that's why I say if you go to my Instagram, there's like before and afters.
Yeah,
And I don't really have a lot of before pictures of me because number one, we didn't take as many pictures going out
yeah.
because the phones that we have now were not the phones we had. Flip phones, we had all those. And so I take and my before picture is my wedding day because I was I was not there. I was drinking. I blacked out the day before. I was taking Adderall, like you said, to feel better on my wedding day.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
started chugging vodka the morning of because I was so nervous. I don't like the spotlight on me, which is so weird because what I do now, the spotlight is on me, even
yeah,
on social media, right? But it's in
yeah.
like a
But you can
like
handle it
in a
now.
way where you're not in front of millions of people. I mean, you don't feel
Yeah,
like that. You're just, it's you and your camera, not in front
yeah,
of
yeah.
like hundreds of people. And so I just didn't know what to do with all that. And everything had to be perfect and this and this and this. And I was drinking leading up to the wedding. And so I just wanted to get through it. I'm like, just get through
Hmm.
it, get through it. And, I don't remember the evening of my wedding. And it was really the day after, a couple days after, I just collapsed. I was so exhausted because I was doing my full time job. I was doing freelance full time. I was doing my wedding all by myself. And
Hmm.
I literally was just burned out.
Yeah.
So I stopped trying to hide it. A couple days later, I started drinking. Even though I was drinking around the clock before, I just started drinking. I didn't like show up to work. It came
Ah,
out, to my husband. He was like, "What the heck did I marry?" And I said, "I don't care. I'm done. I got through the wedding, and I'm
this is
absolutely
me.
done."
Yeah, you're just like this is me. And did you like? I thought you were gonna say, and you were just like, I'm not hiding it anymore. You were gonna tell him like, I need help, or were you just like, no, this is me. I'm gonna kind of continue
No,
drinking.
and I did, and actually, it was, I believe, a month before our
Hmm.
wedding. He he traveled a lot on the weekends. He's a
Okay.
geologist, and so I would be by
Nice.
myself a lot. And so I used those weekends. I'd get a bottle of vodka
Yeah.
or wine and I'd just ham it up. I'd work and then I'd drink, pass out, wake up, try to feel better,
Yeah.
run to try to sweat out the alcohol, to go work again. And so it was in this point when he came back and I was super hungover. And I just said, I think I'm an alcoholic. And
Mm.
this was like a month before. And he's like, no, you're not. Because he didn't see all these things that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I just, there's some times where I drink, where you've been gone, where I just drink a lot. And I'm really concerned. And I don't know if I
Hmm.
need to go to a meeting. And like Alcoholics Anonymous really scared me because
Of course.
for me, I didn't fit into that profile because my profile, judgmental, stereotypical, is okay, a bum with a brown paper bag, homeless.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't have that. I have a
Yeah.
job. I have a boyfriend, fiance. I have all of these things. I'm high functioning, but I cannot stop. And I'm drinking a ton.
Hmm.
So I didn't know what that meant that, and I didn't want that to come out. It's like right before our wedding. And so I just like, I can't cancel our wedding. I have to get through this. How am I going to get through
Hmm.
it? And so I was battling all of this inside my head for so many months, and I didn't know who to talk to. I was giving myself these goals. If you can go 3 days without alcohol, you're not an alcoholic. If you can go 5 days, you're not. And I could never really get past day two.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and I was just freaking out. And so, yeah, I did come out before that, but he convinced me, like, you're okay. We'll just do this. Maybe you tell when your friends come over that you don't want to drink, you're trying to
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
feel better for the wedding. So I did that. But again, even after that, I knew something was wrong. I didn't refuse help. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So began this year and a half journey of us and me going to my first AA meeting drunk, him coming with me, making sure I went, getting my
Hmm.
sponsor. That didn't work. Going to outpatient. Okay, I did a couple outpatients, kept relapsing, but had periods of sobriety, like all of this stuff. Going to my first inpatient, loved it.
Hmm.
Okay, then going
Yeah.
back and getting my second DWI, like it got so much worse. And like you said, which kind of connected us, then I
Hmm.
started dabbling in different forms of alcohol where
Yeah.
it went into mouthwash. Then it went into rubbing alcohol once, and then into hand
Wow.
sanitizer, where my cravings were so bad and my withdrawal. I don't even know if it was cravings, but my withdrawal was so bad of like
Yeah.
shaking hands where I couldn't write anymore,
Hmm.
where I would have to drink to be able to write,
Yeah. Yeah.
that it just kept me in that cycle. And so I switched to mouthwash, which I heard in treatment that you can just drink that because it's basically the same as like a bottle of vodka.
Yeah. But cheaper.
And yeah, it's cheaper.
Much
I didn't
cheaper.
feel shame going into
Yeah.
Target and buying
Yeah.
mouthwash, as in rotating my liquor stores with the hat on my face and glasses. I would
Yeah.
start to wear glasses to hide my puffy, the bags under my eyes. Because you can tell, right? When someone's been
Yeah.
drinking,
But
you can smell it.
the thing with that is, I had my shops that I would rotate around. I called it my Holy Trinity, and it was like, but they didn't care. I would go in one morning to like the Spar, and I'd be suited and booted because I'd have left the work, I've left the house to go to work. So this would be like 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. and I'd be buying a bottle of vodka, and I'd always say like, and I'd be puffy and looking haggard and all that, but I'd be suited and booted, but looking a mess. And I'd always like say, oh, it's someone's birthday at work today. This is a little joke present. They didn't care. They didn't care two shits what I was buying. And like, if they saw me 4 times a day, they really didn't care either. So it was just me and my own shame and my guilt. But yeah, I did the same. Like, I had 3 different shops that I'd go into, and it's crazy.
I wonder how they feel, like a clerk who works there and someone has a problem and they
Mm,
keep coming in, or maybe they even smell like alcohol, right? I
yeah.
probably did. And like, I don't know. It just got me to be curious of like, I wonder how they feel, if they feel,
I mean, I
I'm not
think
sure what they can do. They have to probably sell to someone unless they're completely intoxicated.
unless they're completely intoxicated, I think that's the reason they don't sell them. But like the shops that I go into the UK here, they're like little mini marts, like news agents. So they're selling everything. It's not like they're just selling alcohol. So they're just not just seeing people buying booze the whole time. So me coming in at 7:30 and buying a bottle of vodka, and then the next person's buying some eggs and a paper. Do you know what I mean? So it's not. they're probably not really registering in it. And if I came in like with my clothes hanging off, and a brown paper bag ready to put my bottle in, then they probably start going, oh, that guy, shame. They probably just didn't think anything of me coming in every other day of the week to buy this.
Yeah.
They
Did
probably
you?
thought, go on, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, did you like add in other items with the alcohol to make it seem like you weren't just buying the alcohol?
I'd probably be buying cigarettes or a vape, or yeah, maybe sometimes I'd buy a sandwich like for my lunch and that. But like towards the end, like I was going up to our local petrol station which sold booze, which I find is the weird. Do they sell that in the US? Can you buy liquor in your petrol stations, gas stations? Like
No.
no,
Or I
so
think it's if it's like 3-2, maybe beer you might be able
like here
to.
you can buy any old vodka, big liter
Oh yeah,
bottles,
no.
everything, and it's like in the petrol stations. You can go, fill your car with petrol and buy a bottle of vodka and then get on your merry way in the car. So, but we lived like 5 minutes away. This is when I lived in the UK, and I would just go up there. They definitely knew I had a problem in there because that was like my go to. And if I was feeling like absolutely well withdrawing, basically, and I'd go up, and I'd been up there in my dressing gown and slippers, so because it was open
Hmm.
24 hours a day, so I could go up at
Oh,
any
there you
time.
go.
So it was my handy little heaven place. Yeah.
So what made you turn to mouthwash?
So mouthwash was I, I thought I was hiding it. So I would go drinking in my car, and I would basically go like my ex-partner at the time thought that I was working, and I probably was still working, but I would be phoning in sick. So I would go, right, this morning only. I'm just gonna phone in sick today, and then we'll go and do this today, and then tomorrow I'll go back to work. And I'd go and I'd get my vodka, and I would just get like a little half-liter bottle, and I'd go, and I wouldn't drive far, because I wasn't a lunatic, and I would go park round the corner from the house, wait till they went to school and work, but I wouldn't go back in the house. I would just sit in the car all day, just basically whiling down the hours. And I knew that I'd need to go back home at some point, so I'd have this mouthwash to start to basically clean up to take away the scent of alcohol in my breath. And rather than just spitting it out, I started drinking it, and then I eventually realized that this was adding to the alcohol that I needed. It's so much so that when I was feeling like absolute death in the morning, I'd go into the bathroom, and behind the bathroom mirror, in the cabinet, yeah, that would take, and I was like, oh my god, this takes the edge off. So yeah, I don't think I ever quite was buying bottles just to solely drink that, because I think my partner had told me that it was doing really bad to my insides. Not that the alcohol wasn't, of course it was, but I kind of went, oh right, so I'll just drink vodka straight, liters of it, rather than worrying about putting mouthwash into me. But yeah, it made me a different type of drunk as well. So beer would be a different drunk altogether, and then wine, and then vodka would be the worst for me. I would
Yeah.
just be belligerent and just not care about anything. But then if I had a mouthwash on top of that, it was like, yeah, I mean, an absolute car crash basically. So yeah,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
were you
It's
were drinking
crazy.
bottles and bottles of it, yeah,
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, like was telling you before this, it was my
yeah,
drink of choice. I'm not
yeah,
saying yes, give me that. I'm saying like it would help mask.
yeah,
But until my husband found out, my
yeah,
parents found out, and so they had to wash. They had to hide the mouthwash for me
yeah.
or get alcohol free or
Alcohol
something like
free.
that.
That's what ended up in our cabinet.
Yeah, and but I would drink bottles and bottles of it, and I
Yeah.
would hide then my mouthwash because again, I just or I would try all these games that we play, you guys, and then I would try wine sometimes if I wanted, but because I
Hmm.
wouldn't get as drunk as fast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so just kind of tapering that, but again, it was like in between mouthwash and wine at the end, and then
Yeah.
whatever I could get my hands on, basically. So. Yeah.
It's that.
Ugh, I
It's
still can't have mouthwash to this day. I
well, I know
just,
we've not got any in the house
oh,
here. I don't think I've had it since then. But I just I brush my teeth. I keep my floss. I do all that. I don't need mouthwash. But
I can't do it. I mean, I can if I'm like, I'm not gonna die if I do it, but
no, but it's
it is
just
such a flashback.
I can imagine it's super
Oh,
triggering. And not that
yeah,
it would make you think, oh, I need to drink. It's just like the foulness of it. But it's funny
yes,
what you say about that instant. gratification. That's why I think a lot of us end up on vodka and the hard stuff, because we like I was in a car park going round to do the shopping, and I'd gone to another petrol station to get my little half bottle. I knew we'd be drinking in the house, I'd be getting us wine and all that, but I needed it there and then. And I got this little half liter, and I literally like guzzled the entirety of it in like, I don't know, less than a minute. And it was just that, there we go. That's me. That's me. And I, like, from the outset, you wouldn't have thought I was drunk. Anyone else, you'd be on the floor, but I'm sure you're the
Yeah.
same. It's like, I called it my sober level, because that was me. Now I can function and I can go and do the shopping, and but like anyone else, that might be, they'd be staggering about the shop in that, or they'd pass out. But
Yeah.
it was just a medicine, and I needed it quickly and instantly. And vodka was definitely the best way of doing that. So
And
would
you
you
do it to
say,
just like feel normal. I was at the
yeah,
end, I was
yeah,
just doing, like I said, to take my shakes away. I
yeah,
would just do it to feel normal.
yeah,
And that's where it can take you. The more and more you consume is, of course, the withdrawals are so intense that,
yeah,
okay, now I can actually function because I have that in my system to
yeah?
call off the withdrawal because, man,
And it's,
it's not fun.
I mean, I've never taken heroin, but obviously seen the films, and they get the sickness, and and I went to NA over here, so I know a lot of people that are in recovery from, they're clean from heroin, and they're like, this is the sickness, it's at the end they're only taking the heroin not to get high or not to get buzzed, they're taking it to stave off the sickness. And
Yeah.
essentially that's what alcoholics are doing.
Hmm.
We're just trying to, we're not drinking to get drunk. We're drinking to feel some semblance of normality again. And
Hmm.
but you never get there, because you're either in a state of, you know, not drunkenness, but inebriated maybe, but you're still functioning. But or the other level is this, the absolute sickness of it, and you just, yeah, withdrawal is just horrible, and I never want to go through that ever again. I
Isn't that
couldn't even
great? You never
imagine.
have to go
I
through it.
know.
And so in my program right now, they're on day 4. And so I'm
Oh
like,
no.
okay, they're in the thick of it, right? But those first few days are I mean, are the absolute hardest,
Yeah.
absolute
Yeah.
hardest. And so just knowing it, and it also just brings me back. And so I keep reminding them, you
Yeah.
never have to go through this again. Just think about it. Don't confuse sobriety with withdrawal. This is not
Hmm.
what sobriety feels like. This is your body detoxing a poison from its body.
Yeah.
So the only way to get through it is to go through it. You're not going to feel like this forever, but everybody has to go through it to some extent, whether it's just mild withdrawals or really severe withdrawals or moderate. But you
Hmm.
just got to go through it and know that you're going to feel so much better. But
Yeah.
would you like to continue on this merry-go-round of doing the same thing? Or would you like to get off knowing it's going to be hard? You're going to feel awful for a little bit, but then
Hmm.
it's going to get better and you're going to
Yeah.
feel better. And sometimes, usually that's on the day 4. Sometimes it might take a week. I don't know. Everybody's different. But yeah, and I think that cycle, those first few days can just keep people stuck. But also knowing, again, always come back to how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a craving, whenever you see a trigger, whatever, come back to those early days, right?
Yeah.
It's like we want to drink without the consequence,
Yeah.
but that can also help you stay sober.
For
But
me,
again,
it
this too
was
shall
like,
pass.
yeah, exactly. For me, it was like, I'm sure you've seen the Shawshank Redemption, and the bit at the end where he just has to shuffle his way through that. I think it's the sewage pipe. And he
Yes.
gets through the end, and he's like, I got through this, foul smelling. And he gets out the other end, and he's just like in the river, and he's cleaned himself off, and he's come out of that hell.
Hmm.
But to come out of the hell, he had to go through this like almost even worse, like shorter period where he's like in this like absolute stench filled shit, and then he gets out,
Hmm.
and he's okay. And I always like, because like the hell that we were in is the prison of Shawshank, and then that withdrawal, that detox that you have to go through is the pipe, and then once you're out, it's like, okay, it's not all singing and dancing at the other end, but it's definitely better. And then you're on that road to, wherever he goes to down in Mexico, Cewataneo. So yeah, I always like to think of the Shawshank as being my analogy for that. But it's
Ah, that's such a good analogy. Then you're all
yeah,
driving down in that convertible
yeah.
with the wind in your hair
He's
and
getting the sailing boat ready, and do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
that's what sobriety is all about. It's like, but it's telling people you've got to get through that little tiny window, and it's not long when you look at the rest of your life and the scale of it. It's. So where was your rock bottom? When did that happen, and what did you do to kind of get through that? How was your kind
Yeah.
of withdrawal?
I wish I could. I feel like I've had many rock bottoms, but my
Yeah.
initial or my final rock bottom was, oh gosh, April, of course, April 23rd, 2013. But I was living
Yeah.
with my parents at the time. My husband had kicked me out for
All right.
drinking. And so I had to go with my parents, with my dad to his office so they could keep tabs on me, make sure I wasn't drinking. And so it was that day. And even before then, I would try to sneak. He worked downtown. I would find these ways to sneak to Target to try to get mouthwash. And so it was on
We're
April 20th.
so we're so clever. We're so
I know.
we can put any of that effort into sobriety, but also just quickly, how? So you got married, and how long after the wedding was this that you were kind of
A year and a
kicked
half.
out? So a year and a half this went on from, like, after 4 days after the
Yeah, and
wedding, you
again, I
said,
was
yeah,
with the journey of, okay, let's go to our first AA meeting. Okay,
yeah,
then let's talk to this person. Okay, then, okay, what about outpatient? Okay, will my
yeah.
insurance cover it? Okay, then it wasn't until August of 2012, so almost a full year after I got married, where I had the courage to do my first inpatient at Hazelden
Hmm.
in Center City,
Oh
Minnesota.
wow, wow.
And because I always thought I was going to get laid off for my job. I'm like, I can't go away for 30 days. That's ridiculous. But at that point, I'm like, I don't have any other option.
Hmm.
And then coming out, relapsing, going back for their extended care, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then DWI, February 14th, 2013, I had to blow into this breathalyzer in my home to make sure I wasn't drinking after DW, like all of this stuff in a couple
Oh yeah.
months, which then led to being kicked out, getting pulled over. Oh, yeah, that was in February 14th. Anyway, so yeah, I was at my dad's office. I started drinking in the morning.
Hmm.
Was hiding my bottle of vodka. I remember throwing up in the trash of his office.
Hmm.
And then next thing I came to, it was, I think, in 2 o'clock or something. And they're like, I was back home at their house saying, you're going to detox. And that'd be my second time there. So they took me to detox. They actually took me to the hospital. Their hospital beds were full for detox patients. And I just came to because I had blacked out and my mom was standing by me and I'm like, and I started crying. I said, just help me. I didn't know what to do. And so they would transfer me to another detox facility, which is not fun. It's kind of scary.
Yeah,
And where, they gave me a great meal. And I just remember just scarfing down. I was so stinking hungry. And I blew a 0.34. And
yeah.
so just knowing that, and I know that's high, that's not the highest I've seen.
Hmm.
I know it's not a competition, but that scared me
It's still a
because
lot. It's still a
I had
lot.
been
Yeah,
drinking like that for 2 years. Like
yeah,
how many other times did I get away with it
yeah,
and get to wake up another day? That was just another day of drinking, right? And
yeah,
so it was that moment. And again, I had to sleep it off. And you were monitored, which is nice. They can give you some things to help through with withdrawal, so it's a little bit more comfortable.
hmm,
But I
hmm,
woke up on April 24th, 2013, and I just said, "Oh my God, I'm done." I
hmm.
remember talking to a girl, I think she blew a 0.38. We're like asking what each other blew or something like that. We were all so getting our vitals taken. And I was all alone. My husband wasn't talking to me. My parents were talking to me. I had no money. I had lost my job. I had lost my car. I
Hmm.
had probably $200 to my name. And I just said, I don't know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
I'm just not going to drink. As long as I don't drink, I can't make this any worse. And I knew that in my heart. I think before I really wanted to get sober, I just wasn't ready.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
just wasn't
definitely.
ready.
Yeah,
And I just like, I'm just going to do one more time.
yeah,
And I also was kind of experimenting and taking some Adderall on and off. Even though I didn't have a problem with it, I liked the
yeah,
way it made me feel because it would make the hangover go away. I could get a lot done and make up for all the time I had lost while drinking.
yeah,
But I also wasn't honest with my husband about it. I'm like, I
yeah,
have to get honest with him because this is preventing me from getting sober. So it was in treatment where I had to call inpatient facilities. I actually had to call a homeless shelter because my parents didn't want me to come back there. My husband didn't
Hmm.
want me to come back there. And I'm like, I have nowhere to go. I have no idea what to do unless I get a hotel room, but they're not going to trust me there. And so I just explained, I'm like, okay, where are the nearest homeless shelters? And so from that point forward, got a chemical assessment, agreed, my parents agreed to let me stay there for a couple of days until I can go to my last inpatient. But again, I had no idea what was going to happen. I had so much stuff to clean up. I had to do jail time for my DWI. I had to pay so many fines and lawyer fees. I didn't have any money for inpatient, but I went to a different place. So my third inpatient in the cities in Wayzata,
Hmm.
Minnesota, I loved it. And I got a plan or a scholarship where it would be like $2,700 to go for a 30-day stay. So I charged it on my credit card. Like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this,
Hmm.
but I know I am literally going to die if I don't go. And I knew I had to go, even though I knew at that point I was done. I didn't really have to go to treatment. I knew in my heart, I'm
Yeah.
freaking done with this.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody here believes me because how many other times did I say that? And I broke that promise. But
At
I
least
knew
with
it in my
this, you
heart.
can, at least with this, you can then show them that you're willing to do all these different
Yes.
things. And
And I
if I
knew it was
do
going to be
this,
court ordered anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
so
And
I'm just like,
you might as well do it because you're going to learn other stuff in there. But I know what you mean when you know, you know. Like I had
yeah,
so many. I was in one in treatment just when COVID started, and then from there I had a couple of detoxes in the hospital over here, and just your story sounds, you know, and they say listen for the similarities, not the differences in all the programs. And for me, like your story's almost the same because that final time on 19th of August 2020, I was like, this is it. I'm done now. And I was doing it for myself this time. Like I wasn't
hmm
doing it for my family or an ex or this or that. I was doing it for me. And that was the only time I was ever doing it for me, and it was the first time that it worked. So, yeah.
yeah. And it was
It's
kind of like an out of body experience. I feel like I was on this bed and you feel, you're going through those withdrawals, you feel alone. And you're like, what is going to happen? I have no idea. And I was like, I looked at myself and like, what the heck am I doing?
mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have lost literally everything in my life. As someone who came, like I said, from a great home, got
Yeah.
great grades, married to a great guy, and I like literally have nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. But again, like, okay, a lot of stuff is coming up. I have to clean up a lot. But as long as I just do the next right thing,
Yeah.
that's all I can do, right? And so it's so crazy how much things can change when you stop consuming one thing and how much mental space it frees up of not thinking about it, about hiding about it, planning for it, recovering from it, all of the things that it takes to keep up a drinking career.
Yeah.
That, I mean, within 3 months, I got a job back in my field. But
Hmm.
even in those periods, I got my sponsor. I did everything that was told of me. I did my outpatient. I got a job at a local printing shop.
Hmm.
I rode my bike there because I didn't have a car because it got impounded for my DWI. I kept doing it. I did my probation officer. I did all of those things. And it feels so good to do a
Yeah.
UA, a
Yeah.
urinary or analysis, whatever it's called, and not be freaked out by it. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yes,
I know,
this
like
is
I
so awesome.
don't you ever want to be pulled over? Like I've never been pulled
Yeah.
over here by like someone and breathalyze me because obviously I'm driving safely, but I want to be pulled over and say, "Have you had anything to drink tonight, sir?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't had anything to drink in 5 years." Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, it's but all these little things, like what you're saying, for me, it was like I was, you know, back here living with my parents, and they were about to kick me out. I'd fallen out with my brother and his partner, like friends were across, and my ex wasn't speaking to me. I'd lost touch with everyone, and I was just like no money in the bank, but all these little things that I was doing to build my life back up was so exciting. And just, do you know what I mean? It was just like character building because I had to do it all from scratch, you know.
Yeah.
And so when did your, you know, so did you do AA as well then? You're saying you got a
I
sponsor?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's all that they taught then
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
treatment, and so that's all that they recommended, and nothing
Hmm.
wrong with it. So I did
No,
it
no.
for I don't even know 7, 8 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did the
Good.
meetings, got my sponsor, did the steps a few times,
Yeah.
until I just found a way that was working for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share it, and that's kind of how I started to come out about my sobriety. Is once I came out, it started to ignite and started to build this community.
Yeah.
And oh God, it gave me so much confidence once I didn't have to hide it, and I didn't want to hide it. But I
Hmm.
lived in the sober closet for 4 years, and I didn't think that it was something to hide because the more that I hid this, the more ashamed that I felt. But once I came out, it was just a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and it really changed my entire life. So I like to say I have two recovery dates. I have April 24th of 2013, but then I have September 7th of
Hmm.
2017 was the day I came out, which is the day that kind of changed my entire career, my
Yeah.
family, all of those things, which is so nuts, which is so crazy.
So you're 12 and a bit years, is that
Yeah,
right?
12 and a
Yeah.
half almost.
And I guess, because even in the 5 years, and I'm the same as you, I've got mine there.
Oh, awesome. I love it.
And I think I got mine after 3 months, and people were like, whoa, dude, like 3 months and you're getting that. And I would tell people the same, like 3 months, whoa, hang on with the tattoo. But I knew it was like
Yeah.
that. But back then, so like, yeah, within the 5 years that I've been sober, the community has changed and people's attitudes has changed so much. We still need a lot to do to bring the stigma down, because like what you're saying there earlier about, the homeless on the park bench with the bottle in the brown paper bag. As soon as someone mentions the word alcoholic or Alcoholics Anonymous, it's got this instant negative stigma around it. And I'm
Hmm.
guessing 12 years ago, it wasn't. It was still way, way, way to go for that. I bet there was probably wasn't even any alcohol free stuff at that point,
No,
to
it was
drink.
like O'Doul's. And so actually the
Yeah.
first company that sent me some non-alcoholic stuff was a company called Groovy, so Gruvi.
Oh yeah.
And they
Okay.
sent like non-alcoholic beer. I'm like, oh my God, can I
Yeah.
do this? And so I tried it. I'm like, this is weird. It tastes like beer. But I
Yeah.
didn't feel triggered by it.
No. No. No.
And
No.
then they
No.
also have like an NA wine. I'm like, let me try that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this tastes like wine. And it
Yeah.
has zero alcohol in it. Like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. And so, yeah, there weren't the options back then. And I think, like you said, it can deter a lot of people from getting help. And also, the fear of judgment, too, of people
Hmm.
who know about Alcoholics Anonymous. And if you're in it and just having that stigma. But we have come so far
So
in
far.
the past 5 years and past 3 years. It keeps growing, even this
Yeah.
past year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the non-alcoholic market is booming, and the
Hmm.
more and more people that are choosing alcohol free because they want to feel better, not because they have a problem, because
No.
they want to feel better. Now I think people are just getting curious and doing the research, and they're like, why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like Maya Angelou says, once you know better, you do better. I'm like, look
Yeah.
at what you're putting in your body, just like I'm doing with food,
Yeah.
and like really limiting and Xing out some of these food sensitivities that I have. Why aren't we doing that same with alcohol?
It's
It's like,
so
why am I
bizarre.
using this? Is
Yeah.
it like, what kind of benefits do I get? How would I feel better without it? Have I
Yeah.
even given myself the opportunity to take 30 days without it just to see how I feel? And if I
Yeah.
can't, okay, then let's see what's going on in there. Why can't I go 30 days without it?
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of questions, and I think the sober curiosity is just rampant right now. And so
I
people are just seeking that out, and it's so cool to see. I love it.
I love seeing it, and I'm so glad I got sober at this time in space, because, like, not only for my age and for my health, but because I'm here to see this community grow and grow and grow and grow. And like, I think Canada has labels on bottles now. Ireland has, and the UK will probably be the last one to do it because they're absolute numpties. But I think when I first started the podcast, like I was saying, oh, maybe it's going to take like 15 to 20 years before it goes the way of smoking. But actually, I think we're getting to the top of this kind of the crest of the wave, and then it's just going to go down. I think people are changing their attitudes. Young people are definitely not drinking as much because people are they're googling things and they're going, well, why am I drinking something that's causing 7 types of cancers? Do you know what I mean? It's one of the leading causes of breast cancer. Like, why are people still, doing this mummy wine culture and all of that? It's like, once people start to realize, it's like the floodgates are going to open, I think. And
Hmm.
I'm glad that we're kind of on this side of it to go, not to say I told you so. I'm not doing that, and I don't want to be preachy, but I just want people to know what we know, because I had no idea when I was drinking. I didn't know it was so bad for you. I thought, yeah, if I continue to drink, I'll be like 60, 70-year-old and I might get cirrhosis and all that. Like, there's people in their 30s that are getting cirrhosis and they didn't drink half as much as me, and it's like, and I feel blessed that I did not have any long lasting effects from the alcoholism, but
Yeah,
it's madness, isn't it?
same
Yeah.
here. Well, and I didn't even know if it was a drug.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
clue because we say drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, why is it not the same thing? Yeah.
Why don't you just say drugs? It's a drug in liquid form. It's the same
Yeah,
exact thing.
exactly.
So it's like if I would have known that, and I know you're like common sense, Jen, but it wasn't, I didn't know that. And I didn't
Yeah.
know how much how much it multiplies your anxiety.
Yeah.
If I would have known that, I mean, who knows where I would have taken it, if that would have even mattered. It's like, stay out of the sun, it causes skin cancer. You're like, yeah, mom, whatever. I like my tan or something
Yeah.
like that. But who knows? I think people deserve to have make an informed decision
Exactly.
before they start to put that in the body. But however, it's marketed as the complete opposite. It's
Hmm.
marketed to help lower anxiety. It's going to help you relax, take the edge off. You deserve it,
Hmm.
right? But
Hmm.
if you have a problem with it, that's your fault.
Yeah,
If
because
you have
we've
a
told
problem with a
you
highly addictive substance,
it's
that's
one
your
of
fault. I'm
the
sorry.
it's one of the tobacco and alcohol are like two of the most addictive drugs like known to man, and they're
Yeah.
the legal ones. They're the most damaging, they're the most addictive, and they're the legal ones. And it's like, where is that? And going back to the smoking thing, like if you said to someone says to you, "Oh yeah, I gave up smoking," they're like, well done, well done. You tell someone you've given up alcohol, and they're like, why? Did you have a problem with it? And it's
Why?
like, you don't have to have a problem to give up alcohol. And I think a lot more, like as we said, the attitudes are changing, but
Yeah.
it's still that crazy thing. It's
It
like, why
was
have you
like
given
that
up
for a long
alcohol?
time. It's
Oh,
like, I don't know. Do you know who Jim Gaffigan is?
no, I've heard the name. What does he
All right,
do?
he's a comedian, and he had
Right?
this skit from a long time ago.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know why people just, it's the only drug that people question why you're not doing it. And so he's like, you go out for dinner and they're like, um, maybe they ask like, would you like some mayonnaise? You're like, no, I gave that up. Or you can compare it or say it to any form of thing like broccoli. It's like, oh, did you have a problem with mayonnaise? Is it okay if I eat mayonnaise?
Yeah.
Is this going to be a problem for you if I have mayonnaise? Like,
Yeah.
but we only do that with alcohol,
Yeah.
right? It's so crazy because it makes people feel uncomfortable because deep down, we all know it's not good for us. And so
Yeah.
if someone
Yeah.
goes rogue and they stop drinking, it's like, wait, why? Why would you do that? Because it's so ingrained in our society from a very young age, from what we see to what we watch to what we hear,
Hmm.
that we think this is a part of something we do until you kind of do the research and you're like, wait, 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 wait. Do I actually need alcohol to socialize? Where did I think of that idea? Where did it originate from?
Yeah.
Where do I think that we need to cheers something or celebrate,
Hmm.
maybe with wine or like champagne at a wedding? Why do we feel like we have to have champagne
Yeah.
for a wedding toast here? And that's what we do here. It's like,
No, it's the
well,
same
that's
here.
what we always saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So being able to go rogue and do something else, it's going to invite those questions. But I also say just I love getting that question, or if I were to get that question, I don't really anymore because of how open I am, but
Hmm.
people just aren't used to that
Yeah.
of why. It's like I always say, always be honest. You know what? I realized I don't like the way alcohol makes me feel, and I like feel so much better without it. Or I'm
Hmm.
doing 30 days off just to see how
Hmm.
I feel. And right now I'm feeling pretty good, or you know what? I don't know. Will you be
Yeah.
drinking? Is this a forever thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm liking how I'm feeling right now. I don't have headaches. My husband doesn't have a problem. He's almost a year alcohol free. He just chose one day.
Wow.
He's like, I love the taste. He loves the taste. So he
Hmm.
buys
Hmm.
non-alcoholic beer.
Hmm.
He doesn't like the headaches. And
Yeah.
so he just stopped one
Yeah.
day. Um,
Well,
so
it's
yeah.
funny because like if like say we went out for dinner on Friday night and we went to this restaurant and I decided to have this meal and it was a burger, it was a new type of burger and they put something in it and I ate it and then I next day, oh my God, I don't feel well. Do you know what I mean? I'm never gonna eat that thing again. but we
Yeah.
do it every week with alcohol. It's absolute madness, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and
Um,
like I even do this with food too. Sometimes I'm like, who cares? I know I'm going to feel like crap. At least we know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and so over time in my sobriety, early sobriety, I was eating crap. I was
yeah.
eating like big gulps of diet of Coke Zero and like peanut butter jelly and Skittles and all of that. But over time, I just tune in and be like, how do I feel after I eat this?
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
like, oh man, it makes me bloated, it makes me tired. And it's like, and sometimes the next time I'm like, yeah, I still have it. And then I feel bloated and tired. And you're like, I don't really want to feel like it tastes delicious, like pizza. Love pizza.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah,
doesn't love
yeah,
me back. I feel like
yeah,
crap.
yeah,
So every
yeah,
time I've kind of done this with food is like, how do I feel after I eat that?
yeah.
And yeah, it tastes delicious initially, but I know I'm going to pay for it. And
Mm.
more often than not, I'm going to choose a healthier option
Yeah.
that doesn't, of course, taste and ignite that dopamine, but I feel so much better after. And that's what, same thing I did for alcohol. I now do kind of for food and whatever I put in my body. I really
Hmm.
want to do it to fuel it, not to say I don't treat myself. Of course I do sometimes, but more often than not, I'm choosing things that my
Hmm.
body runs better on.
Well, my sister-in-law, I'm not sure if well, she probably is lactose intolerant, but it's the cheese that does it for her. So,
Hmm.
like, if we have like a takeout or something like that, she goes. I don't know if you guys have it, chips and cheese. It's a kind
Mm-mm.
of it's a delicacy. I think it's a Canadian thing, but the Isle of Man people will tell you that it's a Manx thing. So she just has a special pill because she knows she'll suffer the next day, but she loves it. So she just has a pill, and she's like, "I'll take my pill, and then I'll do it." But it's only a treat every now and then. She's not going to do it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just bizarre. So, Jen, tell us what it is that you do now. You said you had a kind of change of career once you'd got kind of sober and clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that crazy? I think, I always thought I was supposed to do big things, and I always thought that was supposed to be with graphic design since I'm a designer and art
Hmm.
director.
Hmm.
And so once I came out, I can't say my life changed overnight, but over time, people started to ask me questions of, okay, what do you think about this? And I'm struggling with this. And I started coaching people in my messages. And so it kind of led to, I don't think I'm supposed to, and I used to help women lose weight as well. I don't think I'm supposed to help women lose weight or design this. I think I'm supposed to help them get sober. I'm
Yeah.
like, no way. And it was something that I never talked about. And I didn't think people cared. Quite honestly, I didn't think people cared to hear my story. And and now it's something that I love to talk about and that
Yeah.
I always talk about is my story. And over time, it helped me feel more confident. It helped lower my shame. And now it just feels so good to also now help women get sober, stay sober by taking care of themselves. Because I think when you get sober, it's not just quitting drinking. You
Hmm.
have to change a lot of things, but also add in some things that are going to help you to feel better and boost that dopamine that we were seeking in alcohol. So, movement, so exercise, getting out on walks, writing gratitude, reading, like we were saying, the more that you know, like do some research, do some personal development work.
Hmm.
That helped me gain the most clarity in my sobriety of really discovering who I am, why I did the things I did, and how to do them better,
Yeah.
of drinking water and all those things. And so, what I do is I create challenges in these groups for women where we all start on the same date, whether you're on day one, maybe you're on day 10 or day 100. And we commit to these habits and we check in. I coach once a week, we meet once a week. It's actually today, right after this call, that we're
Oh
meeting.
wow.
I connect them in these smaller groups so they get to know each other and like
Yeah.
10 to 11 other women on a more personal level. So I really try to create this community that's online and do the best I can with all of these different touch points for them to garner that sense of safety and security with other people, to be honest, to be open, to talk about it, and also have
Hmm.
fun in
Hmm.
this process and also make
Yeah.
this an exciting thing and something that they want to do and not something that they have to do. And
Yeah.
getting them through, of course, they're on day 4 right now, getting them through those first few days of sobriety. And okay, here's what you can expect. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
once you can know what you can expect, feeling tired, feeling groggy, feeling down, it's a lot easier to get through it instead of thinking that there's something wrong with you or that it's always going to be like this and that you can't get through it. And when you have a group of like 78 other women, 75 other women,
Wow.
Also going through this, you can be like, oh, you feel like crap, you feel tired, oh, she's getting out for a walk, okay, she's doing it. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not alone, there's nothing wrong with me, and I know I'm going to feel so much better, right? Because you
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
people
yeah.
further down the road. Yes, I have many years, but there's also women in the program with many months, or they retake the program because they
Hmm.
just want to reset, they want to feel better, because they know, they can see, okay, I know it's not always going to be like this, and what I'm feeling is okay. I don't have to drink over it. I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
And here's some things that I can do to make it a little bit more comfortable from my experience of, yeah, here's this, here's some things that you can do, right? So yeah, and I love group coaching. I also have a membership for women who've taken my programs or who just want that sense of community where we
Hmm.
have we
Hmm.
daily meetings inside there. We have guest speakers, we have a book club, we have workouts, we have challenges. We just did a bingo challenge.
Nice.
So I'm just trying to make it fun and exciting,
Exactly, and
and
not
just
the kind of humdrum of, oh, I'm sober, and
yeah.
because sometimes, and don't get me wrong, like I did NA and I loved the fellowship, but and it was great, and I loved hearing the stories, but sometimes it can just be the same, and if you keep doing
Hmm.
it for year and years, like I didn't want to be a 60-year-old kind of going into the same meetings and going, hi, I'm
Yeah.
Jimmy, I'm an addict. You know what I mean? It was
Hmm.
like, yeah. So where can the listeners find you? I mean, I'll put everything in the description of the podcast, but tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, I like to hang out on Instagram. So my
Yeah.
Instagram is Jen Lee Hirst,
Hmm.
JenLeeHirst. So I try to post every single day in there. And even in my stories, you'll probably see me walking a ton,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that's where I get my alone time. And I try to do it every single day because I get such an energy boost from it. And
Oh,
then
of
my
course.
website is joinlighthousesobriety.com, where you can check out my programs, my membership, and all the stuff coming out.
I love it. I love it. And what advice would you give to someone that was maybe sober curious or just in early days of recovery, like first, second day, and they're
Mm.
struggling? What would you say to them?
And one thing I wanted to hear was number one, everything's going to be okay. You're going to
Yeah.
be okay. I promise it gets better. But, and again, in order to get through it, you got to go through it. And the key to sobriety is feeling discomfort. You got to
Hmm.
feel anxiety. You're not going to die from anxiety, feeling sadness, feeling happiness. The key is to feel it and just process it and to go through it. And also, you're not going to die
Yeah.
from feeling uncomfortable. I always say that to myself all the time. Okay, I only got 2 hours of sleep because I'm going through withdrawal. Okay, that's all right. You're not going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can I do tonight to help ensure and get my body ready for bed? Right? So, all of these feelings we can feel, and I think anxiety can feel like you're going to die. I'm going to
Yeah.
freaking die. This fear, my withdrawals. And again, doing the research on withdrawals, if you're experiencing severe withdrawals, definitely seek out doctor and get medical attention. However, you will not die from feelings.
Hmm.
However, you can die from the action you choose based on that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just breathe through it, play the tape forward. You're not going to die. I promise it gets better.
I love it. I love it. And if Jen could go back to, when drinking kind of became a problem, when you first started noticing it in hindsight, there's two paths in front of you. One, the one you're on just now, or one where you just kind of cut it out your life and never drink at that point. Which path would you take?
Oh, the one I have now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I never would have gone through what I went through, I wouldn't have done the growth
Hmm.
that I've done because of my sobriety. I don't know if I would have had my kids
Hmm.
if I
Yeah,
didn't go
yeah,
through
yeah,
that.
of course. Exactly.
Met my husband if I wouldn't have gone through
Yeah.
that. And so I think, the hardest times build the toughest armor, and the
Yeah.
hardest things can bring on the best of things. And so those hard things can make you into such a confident and such a tough person. So any hard thing that comes my way now, I'm ready for, and it doesn't scare me because I've
Mm.
already done the hardest thing that I'll probably will ever have to do. And if I can do that, I can do anything. And so
I
can you.
totally, I totally concur with you. And what? Wait, sorry. Would you say that you regret getting sober then, Jen?
No, do I regret it?
Yeah,
No. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I wouldn't be 12 and a half years if I regretted it. I would have gone back,
Exactly.
right? I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
regret it. I never have regretted getting
I,
sober.
I don't
Not
think
one
there's
day, not 1 second.
I don't think there's
It's
many that
always
do
worth it.
regret it. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever done in my life. And lastly, Jen, do you have any recommendations for one or all three? A podcast, a book about quit lit, or a film, or all three?
Ooh, I would say a book.
Yeah.
Beyond Booze by Sarah Rusbatch. That's been, and
Right.
of course, This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, but Beyond Booze, if you're a woman, you can read it if you're a man, but she talks about hormones and things like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just think it's just a well-rounded approach to getting
Yeah.
started with sobriety, where a lot of the same things I teach with nutrition and exercise, things like that. I highly recommend Beyond Booze by Sarah
Okay.
Rusbatch.
Okay.
I
I haven't
recommend it
read
to
it,
all
but
my clients.
it's definitely on my list of ones to read because I get books all the time from people on the podcast. And I'm like, I need to work my way through them, So I
I know.
I have them in
I
Audible,
have
but
so many books. I'm like, I cannot buy another book until I
yeah,
actually finish all of these. I have so many.
exactly, exactly. Well, thank you, Jen. That's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and having you on the podcast. Is there anything else you want to add to the listeners, or?
Oh, just thank you so much for having me. If you guys have any questions, please reach
Yeah.
out on Instagram. I'm always in my DMs. I'm always checking those. And I mean, it probably won't be the same day, but I do check every single message I get. I'm always here to support you.
Hmm.
And I just want the best for you. And please don't think that if you have a setback, that that's your story. I think those setbacks are so stinking important because it's really what you learn in that process. That can
It's,
be the catalyst for you making that click and getting to the point to put it
yeah.
down for good. So,
It is.
yeah.
It is part of recovery. I mean, I think there are people that obviously decide to stop, and then that's them stop. But majority of people have to go through a couple of relapses, and get a little bit further down into that rock bottom, and then they get better. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, thanks very much, Jen. It's been an absolute pleasure. Speak to you soon. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Jen. Amazing, amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing. It was just a pleasure getting to know you and hearing your story, and I just appreciate your sobriety. I'd heard Jen on Marcus's podcast, and she spoke about her usage of mouthwash, and I was like, wow, okay, kindred spirit here, someone else that drinks mouthwash. Now I know there's probably millions upon millions, but when you're in that situation and you think you're the only person that does it, so it was just, I wouldn't say lovely to hear someone else doing it, but I just thought I need to get Jen on the podcast and find out about her usage. Her usage of the mouthwash was way more than mine. But it's just it's insane, and that's the nature of this disease. It causes you to do insane things, and for Jen to have lost pretty much everything, $200 in her account, husband not speaking to her, parents not speaking to her, literally hiding the booze from her father, and then getting another DWI. It's those things that then you're like, right, I've got to do something about this, and that's it. It's got to that point, and I want people to realize and not let it get to that point. This is the whole purpose of the podcast, and people like Jen coming on and sharing their rock bottom stories, because it doesn't have to get to rock bottom like Jen and like myself. Jen also, hid her, sobriety for 4 years out of the 12 and a half. It's, because of this stigma that surrounds it all. And it's just a horrible place. It is getting better, as we know, but like she said, that weight that was lifted off of her when she kind of came out as sober, she just felt, right, I can tell people about this now, and it's just an amazing story, and an amazing kind of community that we are building, this kind of normalization of being sober. Why the fuck should it not be normal to be sober and not have a drink? It's just insane. Yeah, so thank you, Jen. Jen is the founder of Lighthouse Sobriety. You can find her on Instagram at Jen Lee Hirst, all one word. I'll put all our details in the show notes along with you know, her other links, and she's so Jen is helping women get and stay sober with 6 daily habits and a 10-minute walk. She's currently, I think it's still in it's AF 75 if I've got that right. It's she's doing like, alcohol free for 75 days. So there's all these different kind of tasks and walks and just support for women trying to get sober. So yeah, check her out. I think it's all kind of localized. So if you're in the area, then get in touch with Jen, and hopefully she'll be able to support your struggle to get sober. And it shouldn't be a struggle, but it is, and that's the problem here. So yeah, thanks again, Jen. All your details be in the show notes, and yeah, take care. So yeah, guys, as I say, this will be coming out on the Friday off to Morocco. I'm gonna be doing so I think I've said it before, we've got 50 episodes. I think this will be episode 46, so we got 4 more to go. It sounds like we're like, oh, I gotta go. No, 4 more amazing guests to come in this season 2. That'll take us up to December, I believe, if my calendar dates have worked out in my head. That'll take us up to just the beginning of December, and we'll have a little break through December. And I put a story out the other day to ask people whether they wanted a special episode on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. Now, the consensus was that everybody wanted it on New Year's Day. Well, not everyone, but the highest percentage of the poll was New Year's Day. So look forward to New Year's Day. It will be Jen basically in my seat and interviewing me, and just as I said before, getting my story out. I know you've heard snippets of it, and you'll probably hear it on other podcasts over the coming months, because I've just done 3 now. I think I've done Sober Rebel, Louisa Evans. I've done the Willpower podcast with Will Gordon, and I've just done Rock Bottom with Ryan, who was on this last week. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to listening to all of those as well. I hope, well, obviously my story will be the same story, but I've tried to kind of make them a little bit, just not like boom, 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 this happened, this happened, this happened. Some of the stories will be similar because it's my story, obviously. But yeah, but then we'll get Jen to interview me, and that'll be coming out on New Year's Day, and then season 3 will be starting at some point in January. So yeah, we're having massive breaks on After Hours. We don't really want to do that. Got some amazing guests, all amazing guests, and they just keep coming. I'm asking people. As I say, we're getting some big hitters and some people that aren't massive on Instagram, but you know what? Some of those episodes do better than some of the massive hitters, and it's I think a lot of people want to hear about just kind of everybody's stories and everybody's amazing struggle back to kind of sobriety and hope. And yeah, so that's about it. Make sure that what you need to do right now is, while you're listening to me or watching me, bring up another tab or another window, or go back into your Spotify, your Apple, whatever. Hit the 5-star review button and subscribe. Hit that little button just to follow, because then you'll literally get an email or a notification as soon as the episode's out. If you've got it set up like me, I'll wake up the morning when, say, One for the Road with Sober Dave's coming out, or Louisa Evans, or Ryan's, and it's basically in my download tray. I've got it. It's there to listen to during the day. So if you sign up, and but if you hit the follow button, that'll do it automatically for you, and then you've got it there for your way to work, or walking the dog, or going for a run. And then comment, let me know what you think, guys. If you're getting sick of my rambling at the end or the beginning of the episodes, let me know. I probably won't stop it, but it'd be nice to kind of get some feedback on it. And share it. Share the episodes, guys. If this one really resonates with you, which I'm sure it will with a lot of people, share it, get it out there. We want more and more people to, hear the stories, and that's really what it's all about. So thanks again, Jen. And I will see you guys next week while I'll be in sunny Morocco. But the episode will still go out. I'll get them set up and ready to go. Until then, stay safe, stay sober, stay supportive, guys. Love you all. Peace.